What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna wrap this mega tutorial up with the Hillbilly Attack. And I found a game where I played, or White came at me with the Hillbilly Attack. And I'm just running the analysis now. I know it was a great game. So we will go from here and check out what's good after I break down the analysis of my game. Yeah, that's fire, 99%. Flawless. Once I break down my analysis, I'll kind of mix up my game and then show what, like, the main line, what better people play. So, the game started off E4. How are we going to do this? Can I turn sideways? I don't want to do that. Here we go. E4, C6, and then the Hillbilly Attack is when they come in with bishop to C4. Man, really perfect. That's crazy. All right. So, Caro-Kann always plays D5 on the second move, and the pro players will move their bishop back here and kind of play a gambit, and then you would accept and take the free pawn. They basically want to lock down on that diagonal hitting your F7 pawn. So what happened in my game was he captured, so I recaptured. And a lot of people throw in a check when they exchange pawns rather than, you know, back out the bishop. And that's exactly what he does. He comes in with a check. And you can block with the bishop, or you can block with the knight in either square. My recommendation, if you're going to block with the knight, do it on D7. Because if you do it on C6, like, if you block it with the knight, do it on this square. Because if he takes, you got, you know, both bishop and queen to recapture. If you so happen to block it like this, and then he retakes, you only have the pawn to recapture with. And now you have, like, a backward pawn where it's going to take 2 turns to get it in the position where it's covered by a pawn. I mean, yeah, you could march it up once and then, you know, hold the tension. But when you have the option ahead of time, you take the easier route. So in my game, he came in for a check, and I blocked the way that I just told you not to. I mean, I'm just used to always pushing that C pawn and, you know, developing in such a way that I push that C pawn later. So he comes in and marches D4, and I want to kick that bishop out, so I push A6. And of course, he takes it, so I recapture, and he comes in with the knight, developing on C3. So I want to close up the pawn structure, just like every Caro-Kann game we play. Get the bishop outside and then close up the pawns. So I put the bishop on F5, the square I normally push it to, and he puts his bishop on F4. Not saying that's bad, just, you know, I guess he could have done better. So I close up the structure with E6, and he pushes A3, because he doesn't want his knight pinned to his king. And I go ahead and push the C pawn. And he captures it. I thought I was going to hold tension for a while. So I recaptured my bishop. And now he moves his bishop in to put pressure on my G7 pawn. You know, hoping that I don't see it so he can kill my knight. Obviously, I just developed my knight to F6. He wasted, that's his second move with that bishop now. Now this is his third move with this bishop now. He moves it to D4 now. So I back it up with my queen. And that's what, 1, 2, 3. That's his 4th move with his bishop now. Waste of a turn. Like, look at his development. He's only got a knight developed, and everything looks like it's untouched. I'm ready to castle either side. I got all my minor pieces out on good squares, and my queen is very mobile. I got a good setup going. So he pushes his h3 pawn. Now he's got both flank pawns open, so I can't use that g4 square for either my bishop or my knight, which is okay. I push my d pawn, kicking out that knight. Once that knight moves, I'll have 2 attackers on that c pawn of his. So he moves his knight to e2. And just to let you know, when you see that star, it means it's the best move out of everything possible. So I move my rook from A to D8, getting behind that pawn. Just adding another defender to it because he's attacking it and it doesn't have anything other than my queen defending it. If I came in and took his c pawn, he would be able to come in and take my d pawn and then potentially harass my king. So he moves his rook from A1 to C1, looking maybe to push that. And I come in with my knight now to E4. I got ideas to push the pawn and then, come into F2, because that's very weak and it's not guarded right now. I got multiple pieces gunning it down. So he comes in with his knight. I don't really know what he's doing here, to F4. So I push up my pawn, attacking that C2 square and open up that attacking line on my bishop. And he comes in and throws the game, because even though he's attacking my queen and the knight, I use both of them in tandem to pull a checkmate. So that was a nice game I had. That's how I handle the Hillbilly Attack when someone exchanges pawns. And now I'm going to cover what to do and how games typically go when a good player, that when I say good, I mean this dude was good, a great player handles it. A great player will back up his bishop and more or less make you take that pawn. And now he's got a strong piece already gunning down on your weakest pawn. And once you capture, they bring in their queen looking to do like some scholar mate. Now he's more or less threatening, not quite checkmate, but it's not good. There, if I move a pawn, I don't think it's checkmate. I think it would just be really bad. Like, really, really bad. Okay, any day now. Okay, I guess it doesn't want to spit out. I guess it doesn't want to spit out the answers over here. So, there's 2 ways to defend this. Me, in previous games, I like going E6, actually. The only other way to defend it is to push G6 and then kind of fianchetto your bishop. But regardless of what line it is, most people will push the G pawn, and when you do, the queen will go to H4. The queen will always find a home on H4 in the Hillbilly, always. There's 2 things that always happen. Queen on H4 and the F pawn, their F pawn, will march up 1, attacking your second E pawn. So when it goes to H4, there's more or less 3 moves that you'll see in tandem that it really doesn't matter the order too much. You'll see the knight come to F6. You'll see the bishop come to F5. Both of those protect the pawn. And also, you won't see it typically right away, but the bishop coming to g7 is also a move that, you know, you'll see more often than anything else other than the two previous moves I just showed you. So here's an example of a line. If the knight comes out, they'll develop a knight, you know, hitting your pawn again, and then you would bring in a second defender, and then they would do something typically like push the f2 pawn to f3, and when they do that, you got to take it. You have to take it. If you let them capture, they have one, you know, you capture. I'll just show you. All right. If you don't capture it and you just do like a knight, they're going to capture. And, I mean, if you recapture, they're going to recapture. And you recapture, and you just lost 2 minor pieces when they only lost 1. So you more or less have to back out your bishop if you want to, you know, save some face over here if they capture it. So you got to capture it. And they are going to recapture with a knight developing. And then from here, you will typically see a fianchettoed bishop right here. Both parties will castle kingside, and you'll see like the black knight develop, the B knight develop to d7. You'll see them push their d pawn, and they'll try to bring their knight to g5 and bring their bishop to h6 to exchange bishops. That's everything in a nutshell, and before I close out the video and call it a wrap, I'll show you. Castles. You'll see, what are you going to see here? You'll see, like, you know, d-pawn pushed to d4. You'll typically see this knight come to d7. And this bishop, now that the d-pawn's open, will come to h6 looking to exchange off. You know, black usually doesn't jump at that opportunity to exchange right away. It'll make white kind of move a turn on that. And it'll also help having the king on g7 rather than g8. So after white develops here, you'll see, you know, the e-pawn push up 1. You'll see white push their h-pawn up 1, looking to push the g-pawn up 2 shortly. And you'll see the knight come. Oh, it's it's still fucking white's turn, or black's turn. You'll see the rook come to e8. You'll see the knight jump into g5, and, you know, this is basically where I'm going to leave it off. But the things you're going to see in the Hillbilly Attack are, you know, white trying to trade off that fianchetto bishop. White pushes f3, trying to force an exchange. White's queen comes out early, and it'll always end up on h4. If not, you know, e2 is doable. It's a solid fight, though. And, I mean, if you look at the computer analysis, why is it all so weird? I'm gonna turn sideways for 1 minute. Yeah, it's at 0.7. So, you know, it's within a pawn as far as even score goes. So that's the Hillbilly Attack. That wraps up the whole mega tutorial. I hope that you guys learned a little something, how to handle attacks, you know, and to get you at least through the gate. Maybe not the full distance to the finish line, but prevent you from slipping and throwing the game, you know, move 3. And I might do one more video where it's not teaching anything other than just running through every single variation of the Caro-Kann that I can possibly find and show you what the different setups are. Like, kind of like what the screenshots look like for all these volumes on the main YouTube page. You know, just, you know, bang them out. Boom, boom, boom. And, you know, and show you what the names and the positions are. But we are done here. So if anyone has any questions, you know, holler at your boy. And I do appreciate you guys. you are an all-star if you made it this far. That's like 4 hours of chess Caro-Kann, and you definitely had to have learned something. So I will see you another day. Thank you.